शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा, शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा। शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा, शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा।
Welcome seekers to today's spiritual satsang titled Concept of Time. I have with me East Asia's main speaker, who is an advanced disciple of a perfect living master. Let's talk about the concept of time. Time, as we know, revolves around the clock or your watch. Okay. So from a normal human perspective, we look at time as though and we operate our daily routine based on our watch. For example, when the sun rises is the beginning of the day, and when sunset is the end of the day. And because of this routine, different people at any given time in different parts of the world experience time differently. So for example, somebody, let's say in Thailand, sees the day, but somebody in America sees the exact same time and is experiencing nightfall. So let's discuss like this concept of time. Where did this concept arise from, and is this an accurate representation of the word time? Because as time as we know it is only time on earth, right?
Yeah. So the concept of time, you have to understand first that now we talk about time, and we all experience time here in the physical level. So in the Egyptian, they say that we all time traveler, which means that we move on time. And time, according to Ishwar Puriji or Perfect Living Master, time has two types. Firstly, there's objective time, and secondly is a subjective time. The objective time is time on the clock. You know, like time will always be able to measure in the physical form, because we look at time and operate by the physical clock that we invented. But the subjective time is time that feel by the observer of experiences. So, for example, when we are in the meditation, when you meditate, right? When you have really good meditation, maybe that meditation is only 5 minutes, but you feel that you have been gone into the deep meditation over 2 hours. But when you look at your physical clock, the time has passed like only 5 minutes, and you think, oh, is that even possible? Or you have really good conversation with a friend, and you feel like, oh, I only have that really good conversation for half an hour, but 3 hours has passed. How that even possible? Because at that time, you experience time in the observer mode. That's why time is not in the same pace as the time in the physical clock. Another good example is how you feel, how much age you are. Some people, they're in their 60s, but they still feel like they're still in their teenage. You know, that's the time as the observer, they feel they're young inside, but getting old outside in the physical self is also possible.
So you mentioned that there are two aspects of time: the objective time and the subjective time, right? So
Yes.
Ishwar Puriji also mentioned about the relationship between time and space. He mentioned that space and time correlates very closely together. Without space, there's no time. Without time, there's no space. Okay, so for example, let's say now I'm traveling. Okay, I'm traveling from Thailand to London, for example, right? Now, at this present time, I'm in Thailand, boarding the airplane, moving to London, right? So the thing is, London already exists. And now my body is in Thailand. But as I move in relation to moving on the airplane, as the airplane flies to London, I'm slowly getting nearer and nearer and nearer London till I land in the airport at London, right? London airport. So that is me moving through space. And in this movement from Thailand to London, I took maybe, 10 hours, for example, right? So in that experience, I experienced 10 hours of time and maybe a few thousand kilometers of space, right? So put this in context to the past, future, and present, the timeline as we know it, the life timeline, Ishwarji also mentioned that the future has already been set, is already there. We are just basically traveling through this timeline, like watching a YouTube video. So it seems that, correct me if I'm wrong, but we, like you mentioned before, we are traveling through time. We are time travelers, right? So meaning 5 years ahead, the 5 years, myself in 5 years' time, I have not seen because I have not reached that timeline, but it's already there. But I need 5 years of human time in order for me to get to 5 years later, my 5 year self, which is similar to me traveling from Thailand to London, but I'm traveling through space, but I'm using, I'm experiencing space and time, right? Same goes for traveling through time. So I think this concept is not widely talked about because this concept is a bit, I would say, takes a bit of time, no pun intended, to digest. So what's your view on traveling through time and the concept of the past, present, and future in relation to time?
I will make it very simple for you to understand about the concept of time and how we actually are time traveler as the soul, right? Because the soul incarnate here in the physical form, and the physical form experience different nature of time than the soul, because in soul there's no time, because the soul never die, never age. But only in this physical we get confused because that's a different nature of time and that also limitation of time. Okay, let me explain to you how time work in different plane, in different realm of existence. So start from the first physical plane that we are in here. So the time here called physical time or physical illusion that created by Maya, right? Illusion is so-called Maya. So time in this physical plane, it's the time in linear. The time continues forward in the same pace. Like you see the time in the clock, it's always go the same pace, right? Even here, we understand about the concept of past, present, and future, but we can only travel through time by moving forward in the same pace, right? This is the nature of physical time, physical plane. The next one is the astral plane or emotional time or emotional maya, also called illusion. So time in the astral plane, time also work in linear, but the time in the astral plane can be paused, slow, or fast forward. You can actually experience time by pausing. Like if you like any particular feeling, you can pause and keep feeling of that. Like you love the feeling of freshness of the air, after the rain. You can actually feel that, like pause and feel that in your mind. And the time in the physical plane, it can be paused and it can be, slowly experienced or fastly experienced, but you can only move forward in the astral plane. You cannot moving backward. You can only pause and moving slowly or, or fast to the future. Next one is the causal plane or causal maya or causal illusion. Time here in the causal plane can be paused, slow or fast forward or backward. So in the physical plane, like you said, in the causal plane, like you said to me, the example where you're traveling from Thailand to London, right? From Thailand to UK. So time here is acting like a space. Like you can travel through time here, like you move from one town to the other town. And as a traveler in the causal plane, you can move from past, present, and the future. And you can, because time here acting like a particular space, we only travel through that. So when a person raises their awareness to the to the causal plane, then they can actually visit the past to see what happened in the past, or visit the future, the far future, what happened in the future. That's why in the causal plane, here on the top of the causal plane, there is Akashic record. It's a record of everything within this karmic realm that you can visit, and you can be able to access to all events and have knowledge about it. And because you can easily do traveling toward the past and toward the future as you like. Okay. Next level is the level of the soul. The first level of the soul, whatever I told you before, is the level of the mind. So the first level of the soul is Par Brahm. So here is the home of cow, right? The negative power. So here, there is time, but is timeless time. And time exists as event, but not connect to one another. It's a time that like collapsing into one point. So therefore, Ishwarji said that the time here is spread into the affinity. It means all possibility can happen. in this time, in this timeless time. That's why the lower creation of the karmic realms, also called samsara, born in this Par Brahm. And time here is in zero time. That's why it can be infinite. Next one, the next level of the soul. This is the level of universal soul, right? It's called Mahasuna. This is the home of Mahakal, the great negative power. So time also exists here as timelessness. It's the time exists here only as a concept of time. So this is the true origin of the karmic universe. Everything starts here, but as a concept. Right. The next level is Sachkhand, or our true home. In our true home, there's no time. No time at all. Because the soul already reached its perfection here. And here, the role of the observer changes. The observer is observing outside time and space. Because it's the first level that the observer operates outside the time. And the observer will lose sense of engaging on the event and only participating on the event and time. So by telling you all of this, then actually one can measure how higher your level of awareness is by changing in the nature of time that they experience.
That is a very comprehensive analogy of time through the different levels and different planes. Let's pull back through to the astral state for now. Okay, since a lot of mainstream religions speak of time in the heavens, for example, and also a lot of spiritual practitioners also mention that I can spend 1,000,000 years in heavens. So, for example, if you mention that you spend 1,000 years in heaven, what is the measure of a year? Is it a Earth year, which is 365 days in heaven, or what's the concept of a year now when you shed this body and you move into the heavens? If you
mean in the astral plane?
In the astral plane, for example.
In the astral level.
Does it work like a dream, dream state? Yeah, where you can grow old.
Yes,
and
you can say like that.
I see. Got it.
You can say like that because in the lower heaven, in astral plane, you will only experience happiness, right? And whenever we experience happiness, it seems like time moves very fast, right? So if 1,000 years that you experience in the astral plane as angel there, it may be equivalent to very short time in human world. Let's say 1,000 years can equal to 5 to 10 years in human world of happiness.
And for experiencing hell, on the other end, it will be the opposite.
Yes, the opposite.
So
because in suffering mode, we feel like time extends, right? You feel like 2 minutes of suffering is as if 1 hour of suffering. Because the time in the astral plane is emotional time.
So correct me if I'm wrong. The higher you go through the inner regions, the lesser time you will have, or you experience less and less time, right?
That's right. So the higher you go, the concept of time will buy you less and less. You not operate within the limitation of time. That time go always move in the same pace. For a spiritual practitioner that raise their awareness higher and higher, they will find that the nature of time change for them. For example, for initiate or perfect living master, the more they practice and the more they advance, they will feel like time pass by really quickly. So one day for them is very quick, because they feel like they operate very less in this physical world. Their attention is always higher in the higher plane. So therefore, when their attention is in the higher plane, they don't see the time pass by that much. They don't experience the physical time that much. And Master, in one occasion, Master even said that, being advanced spiritual practitioner, you only experience 30% of time here, and you experience 60 to 70% of the nature of time in the higher realm, even you operate in the physical form. Because you will be focused on happiness more than the suffering nature of the world. So you feel as if, you operate in the heaven, but you live in the physical body on earth.
Okay, so next step is with regards to the higher ascension. Let's say you have ascend through maybe Par Brahm level, where you can see timeless time. You see time existing as just snapshots of events, right? Does this mean that you can also experience time in the eyes of another character?
Yes, you can experience time. You can experience time. No, at the Par Brahm, you operate from the soul level. So at that time, you will see time or recognize time from the point of view of the soul. So time in the Par Brahm can go on forever and ever. For example, when you reach the Par Brahm, you reach the first level of the soul, and you would like to experience happiness of being appreciated by your beloved for longer time. You can actually extend that time and live in that feeling of love and appreciate for all your life if you want it. Why? Because this the quality of the soul, and this at that level, the observer see the creation from the positive point of view, and in that positiveness, anything can possibly happen. Even you can alter time and space. Even when the time that the character, as the karmic character, experience the suffering, but in your heart and mind, you can still feel the love. You can still feel the appreciation. Even that character goes through the suffering. So this happiness or love of appreciation can go on and on forever in your mind, because you already transcend the level of or the negativeness to reach the first level of positiveness.
Okay. Won't you say that at this Par Brahm level, when you can extend the time of joy with your beloved, uh, would you say that it will be confusing? No, I wouldn't say confusing, but you can mistake this level as your true home because you can expend time and go on living in the bliss
That's right.
forever. But in such kind, you will experience the, I would say, more than this, more than bliss. And is the experience similar at Par Brahm and then in Sachkhand? What's the difference between this
Yes.
feeling
When
of
you
bliss?
transcend from the love one level to the next, when you raise your awareness from one level to the next level of awareness, the next level of the awareness always seems to be the ultimate. That's why we need a perfect living master to tell us, and guide us to go to the next level, because only the perfect living master, they have the map, of every level of the awareness, and they operate there at every level at the same time, so they can guide you. Hey, this is not the ultimate. Don't stop here, right? That's the next level to come. So please, raise above this. You can enjoy this as much as you like, but keep in mind that there's a next level for you to transcend to travel through. And like you said, people will that have experience of the Par Brahm will think that, oh, this is Sachkhand, this is the ultimate, and those people oftentimes they'll reach the level of Sadguru, start with the D, Sadguru, and they end there. And they're thinking that, oh, okay, I'm reaching the level of God now. I can do everything, right? Because I'm above the karma now. Yes, they only one step above the karmic realm, but they're still in control of Kal and Mahakal above that. They're still in control of the timelessness and the concept of time above that. So they not truly escape the incarnation because they're not out of that yet. They're not out of the samsara yet. Only when they die, those people will experience that, oh, actually, I was thinking that I'm out of the system. But they will experience that they still in the system and will have been put back into the system after they enjoy their good karma, for a million years. Then they will be, have to incarnate back into the physical world again. And go on. And the really feeling, the true feeling that you reach Sachkhand is not the feeling that the happiness and bliss can go on forever. You actually feel contentment. You actually feel at home. And you actually have the perfect wisdom and knowledge of a perfect living master. And the difference from Par Brahm and the Sachkhand is that at Par Brahm, you only see the top of the karmic creation. But the wisdom of Sachkhand is that you operate, you have the knowledge of every level at the same time. You're not at the top, you're not looking down. You actually looking down from the lower level. You also looking up. You also looking upward from the lower level. You also looking downward from the top level. You can feel that you part of everyone at the same time. You can know their feeling. You can recognize where they're coming from. That's the wisdom of the Sachkhand, not of the Par Brahm. Because at the Par Brahm, a lot of spiritual teachers, they still very much operate from their ego point of view, because at that time you feel that you are on the top of the world, you're the best of everybody else. But in such kind, how the perfect living master feel that they're not the best. They feel they understand every character. They can feel that they are everyone, but they are the wise one of everybody at the same time. So they very much humble. So the true master has to be humble, not egotist.
Okay, so still at the Par Brahm stage, you mentioned before, you still have traces of karma, and you still have your ego as the face of your mind, even though you are stepping into the soul territory. Is this correct? Or does that happen only at the higher level of the void, Mahasun?
Well, go on.
Where the samsaras are cleared away, you know, as you cross over the to the other side of the void.
The different slightly feeling of when you are in Par Brahm and when you are in Mahasun, because in Par Brahm you will feel that you are very clever, you know, you're the cleverness of all, right? After you raise your awareness to the next level, to the Mahasun, you will feel that you know nothing again. You know, from the Nova, you have to be put into, you feel as if you know nothing again. And everything becomes just concept to you. And all the ability that you have learned, you know, when you travel through the astral plane, the causal plane, the Par Brahm will be put back. And it will be as if you have been wiped of the memory, of the wisdom. And you feel at that time you will become more and more normal again, you know? Like from the top of the world, you feel like, okay, you going downward again. That's the nature of Mahasuna. That's why Master always said it have an effect of a turning cape. It's a darkness and a turning cape. Darkness means, you know, you lose the wisdom of what you know. You're not in the certainty that much anymore that you know anything, because you feel as if, okay, I know everything of the karmic realm, but what is the point of all this? There must be something higher, but you not discover about that yet. And the turning effect you will feel is that, okay, you have to redo everything again in circle over and over, but not really getting anywhere. Without any help of perfect living master, you cannot close this. So the guru of Par Brahm, they might have here and there the experience of Mahasuna, but without the initiation of a perfect living master, they cannot close this point. Because only perfect living master have the key of the divine. They have the authority to pull you across that turning cave of darkness to the other side, because they are Satpurush, they are the God, the Almighty themselves, that have authority to do that. And other people, they don't have this. So only when the guru or the people of Satguru that reach the Par Brahm, and they lower down their ego, right? And they accept a perfect living master as their master. That's the only time they can close this Mahasuna, the great darkness. That's why this Mahasuna is a home of Mahakal, the greatest creator of all, worshipped by the lower cow, worshipped by Maya, and worshipped by the god of the past, present, and future, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva.
So does this mean that your experience in the Mahasun level is very temporary? For example, once you're at Par Brahm, you step into Mahasun, and then as you move to the swirling cave, then you land yourself back at Par Brahm level. Does it mean it's like that, or does it mean that you're just stuck there for eternity?
Have you ever experienced that everything go in the loop? It's like that. Yeah, they can have experience of Par Brahm or downward, Par Brahm to causal realm, to the astral realm. That's why you will see a lot of Sadhgurus level, Sadhvidadi, right, level, when they giving teaching, sometimes they give like very low teaching at the particular time. Sometimes they raise up a little bit. Sometimes they teaching from timeless time state. And sometimes they go back into the karmic realm again, because they go up and down in the loop, all the time. Because the nature of the mind is curving like a spear. And when you travel in this realm of the mind, or the realm of cow or time, you going in the loop, When you reach the top, then you will slowly curving down and down and downward. And after downward, you going up and up and up again. It's like that. It's endless. That's why we call it samsara. We call it the circle of transmigration. And nobody actually escaped this without the help of perfect living master.
Okay. So in the company of the perfect living master, because I understand that in the Mahasun region, you have to cross a lake, the lake Manasarovar, right? So can a Sadguru or a person in Par Brahm that has reached Par Brahm cross this lake by him or herself? Or do you need... What happens if you cross the lake by yourself? And what happens if a perfect living master guides you across the lake?
The Manasarovar lake is actually at the Par Brahm level. So this Par Brahm level divide into lower part and the upper part. So when the soul travel from the karmic realm upward, they will have to filter through this Manasarovar lake to, let's say, to cleanse themselves as the soul. As the individual soul, they jump from one side of the negative side, jump in this filter, so-called Manasarovar lake, and they swim and they get up on the other side, which is the positive side. So at that time, they are pure soul, have no trace of karma attached to them. So that's the function of the Manasarovar lake, to just filter the less imperfect soul to be the perfect soul again, before the experience of the universal soul in the Mahasuna, the fourth level.
I see. So you can cross over this lake without even the help of a PLM.
Yes,
right?
If you meritorious enough, without any help. Yes, you can kind of get there by yourself, but this is very, very difficult, even nearly impossible for the soul here to reach that far
Okay.
without helping of a perfect living master. Therefore, when you reach the first soul level as the Par Brahm, then there you actually will need help from a perfect living master already, because perfect living master will help you to smooth your journey. Like the time that you go through the filter of Manasarovar lake will be less, because perfect living master can actually pull you across the Manasarovar lake really quickly. But if you use your own effort swimming across, let's say, if it's time is there, right? It will take a lot of time, a lot of effort to swim. Perfect living master is like a speedboat that you can, just get on and, go to the other side without any effort. But if you have to swim yourself, it takes a lot of effort and time.
What happens? Okay, let's say what happens if there's two initiates, right? Two of you happen to ascend at the same speed or have reached the same level. Would you see two of you crossing this lake, or would you just be just one? You get what I mean? Like, is the lake only for you?
We see the other people that try to cross this, because master have higher perspective. They have the awareness of every level at the same time, so they can see other people's journey. But as the soul of initiate, you won't see other activity going on, because you will be very focused of what you are doing. And you will only see, the only one you see will be your master that travel with you at that time. You're not going to see other people's journey, because you're not reached the top yet. Even you have equivalent of the level of the Sad Guru, the Sad with the D. Even you have that awareness, you will only see yourself travel through every region without any other people. Only when you reach the top, when you reach Touchkan, and you travel back as a visit, for this, let's say you travel back to visit Par Brahm, is when you see every other soul try to make their journey up. That's the only time you will see other people.
Okay, that's very apt in our closing. I just wanted to bring back to the topic again, the concept of time. So I was about to ask, can all this be experienced as you're living here right now in the human body? I think you just answered the question. And I just wanted to share with the brothers and sisters listening to this topic that never miss the opportunity to travel back, because the concept of time in the inner realms differs slightly. You could even get the trip back to Sachkhand in an instance, right? I think it's like 4 seconds. All this happens in 4 seconds of like worldly time.
It can happen in a 0 nanosecond, as Ishwarji said. Yes, it can happen in a nanosecond, but it can happen in 5 minutes. It can happen in a week. It can happen in a year. It can happen in 10 years, or it can happen in 4 lifetimes. So it depends on your burning seeking, your burning desire of reaching Sachkhand, of our true home. The drive have to be there to begin with, in order for Master to pull you across and reach the Sachkhand. So in my lifetime, I only see very handful of passionate people that want to reach the level of such kind and being just like a perfect living master. I really see handful of people, and most of the time, those people become master themselves. But I would say the hope is there. If you listen to this satsang, it means it's inside you somewhere. The burning desire of reaching our true home and merging with our beloved is there. So the potential is there. It's for you to take the first step. And after that, Master will pull you across. And I hope everybody have that blessing from Master and can reach the true home right now in the human form. Because it's a promise of Master during the time of initiation that he would bring everyone home, even instantly, if they want to.
I see. Interesting. So the journey up, the transcendent journey up, is usually a lonely journey. Without the company of a perfect living master, you'll probably be just on your own.
And the raising of the awareness can only be done in this physical temple, in this human body. If people have their fantasy, romantic idea about, okay, when I die, if I reach Par Brahm, then Master gonna come and bring me to Sachkhand. No, it's not like that. Or if ever you die when you reach the Par Brahm level, then you have to make your way up for millions eons of time. Then you will beg Master again, Master, please put me back in a physical human life so I can make my way up, within these 100 years of human life. So the safest way, you have to make your way up to Sachkhand while you still operate in the physical body, because you have very bad chance compared to all the angels, to all gods and goddesses. You can do this, right? And never let go of this opportunity and thinking that, okay, I get initiation by perfect living master already, I'm safe. I don't need to educate myself. I don't need to raise my level of awareness. Yes, in a way, you still have to have a spiritual ego, that you wake up every day and you try to learn something new from the master. That should be your way of life, of always try to develop yourself and put the spiritual practice as the first priority. Otherwise, when you continue to progress inside after you die, it will take a lot of time. And don't be happy if the master says to you, oh, don't worry, this is your last lifetime. It doesn't mean that this lifetime you will reach Sachkhand. Maybe you die and you continue the journey inside and don't have opportunity to be born as human again. And you will, just like everybody, slowly going up and upward, but you will always be with the inner master who help you and travel with you in that journey.
That's it for today's satsang. Thank you, main speaker, for spending time with us for this satsang. If you want more information about Ista Asia, please go to www.istaasia.com. You may also subscribe to our newsletter or email us any inquiries you may have regarding spirituality. Thank you for listening.